a lot of us believe that if you haven't had sex before, then your vagina is completely closed. So this is how we think the vagina looks like. This is the vagina and it's open, right? We think that if you haven't had sex before, your hymen, that is the tissue covering the vagina, covers it just like this. So we think the vagina is completely closed like this. In reality, this is how the hymen looks like. It has an opening, as you can see. It has an opening here to allow for menstrual blood, to allow for you to use a tampon, to allow for you to use a vagina cup. Your vagina is not completely closed if you are a virgin. The hymen doesn't cover the whole thing. This hymen here is just a fiber, a tissue that stretches as you interact with it. So if you're fingering, if you're using tampons and things like that, it continues to stretch. Women have different types of hymen. Some people's hymen are a bit more stretched. Some people's hymen are a bit more open. Some have a closed hymen, so the hole is tinier, which means it needs more stretching. It needs more stretching for it to open. Some women have the honeycomb, where the hymen has different shape and different lines with it. So women have different types of hymen. The hymen doesn't completely cover the vagina. So the idea that you need to have sex and tear the vagina open is false. It doesn't work like that. Also, when we talk about pain or the bleeding that comes with the first time of having sex, bleeding is not compulsory because it depends on how thick this your hymenal tissue is. If it's really thick, trying to stretch it would cause a bit of bleeding. However, for some women who do not have very thick hymen, the likability of them bleeding is lower because it's just easier for them to stretch the hymen out. When it comes to pain, if you have a very thick hymenal tissue, it might lead to a bit of pain. But the truth is that it's not meant to be that painful if you do it correctly. So even the idea of your first time must be very, very painful is also false. And because the hymen is already open naturally, it is not possible for you to check if someone is a virgin. Because why? You can actually stretch this tissue here. You can continue to stretch it with non-sexual activities such as biking, riding a horse, sports, even just using your tampons or simple finger can continue to stretch that place. So when you go and you say you're doing a vaginal test, how do you know the stretching of that hymen is due to sex or if it's due to sports? So you never really know if one is a virgin. It is not possible for you to test that. So your hymen doesn't go anywhere even after you have sex. Your hymen remains in the vagina as an irregular tissue ring around it. So this is how it is. Since you have sex, it stretches and it remains around the vaginal opening. This is how it just, the more you interact with it, the more it stretches. But if the first time is not meant to be that painful, why is it that so many women complain that their first time was really, really painful? Well, I have some theories about this. One, the idea that we've been taught that your first time has to be very, very painful. So the first time you're going to have sex, you're already naturally scared. So the anxiety could lead to discomfort, which makes it difficult for you to relax. And it means that your vaginal muscles as well are not relaxed. So any form of penetration when your vaginal muscles are not relaxed is going to cause you pain. Also, when you have anxiety, your discomfort could feel like pain. If you've gone to visit a gynecologist before and you're already, uncomfortable with that process, it's more likely that you're going to feel pain when the gynecologist is trying to do a pap smear or something like that. Secondly, because many young people are unprepared about this, they don't have the right knowledge about it. The boy might be too eager and the woman might not be emotionally ready for that at the moment, that again, the vaginal muscles do not relax. That could lead to pain. And if you've learned how to have sex through porn, the first thing you're going to do is you want to pound, and you think that is the way to have sex. That causes a lot of pain for the woman. So the first time is really painful if you do not know what you're doing. Also, lack of lubrication. If you are anxious, if you're uncomfortable, if you're not relaxed, you're going to produce very little vaginal lubrication. And if there is no lubrication, it's going to lead to friction, which is definitely going to lead to pain. So these are some of the reasons why women feel so much pain on their first time. So what can you do to ensure that your first time is pain-free and it's pleasurable? One, you need to be emotionally ready. You need to know that this is something you want to do. You've spoken to your partner about it. You've told them that before we have sex, these are the things that I would like to do to make me ready, to make me comfortable, which means lots and lots of foreplay so that your body can be ready for any form of penetration. I feel like I need to keep repeating this. You need to have foreplay before going straight to the deed. Oral sex, is not foreplay. Keep that in mind. The second one is to take it easy. The idea that you must have sex on the first day and everything must penetrate is false. You can definitely start with just fingering to continue to stretch the area to allow for an easy penetration. You can do this on your own. Your partner can also do this for you. So this is something you can do a few times before you actually use a dildo, before you use, a penis to penetrate. So take your time and you can start slowly. Also use lubrication. It is so important. Even if you have vaginal lubrication, it's always nice to have an extra lube by the side. You can buy it in your pharmacy, you can buy it in a shop around you, and just keep it. It's not that expensive. So for the first time, keep lubrication around you, and it's something that will definitely make the process much more easier. You need to break away from the idea that the first time must be painful, because I spoke about this in the sex chat of mine, that we have this idea that it has to be so painful that if it's not painful, then we are even worried that, are you sure that I'm not too wide? Why is it not paining me? Or the guy is already worried and thinking, this girl is not a virgin. Why didn't she bleed? Why didn't she feel pain? But you need to break away from that. The anxiety that comes with the first time because of the pain makes it much more painful for you than the actual act itself. I also have a very in-depth article on this topic. I'm going to put the link below and you can go and read more on these topic. It's something that I believe that we should all know about. Every single person should become equipped with knowledge regarding how their body works so that they can be empowered and fully aware when they decide to interact with their bodies. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I want to hear some of the misconceptions that you had about the hymen and virginity and your first sexual intercourse. Bye-bye.